Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to continue that line of questioning because I think it's a real centerpiece of this hearing, dealing with credit unions and the small banks. There is absolutely no question, Mr. Miller, and I think you will agree, it's good to have you, my friend, back with us. But look, credit unions and banks need more certainty that their good faith efforts do comply, while they're still meeting their consumer demand that does not expose lenders to litigation during the initial period after the regulations become effective. I think anybody looking at this would agree that it appears that this industry does need more time to implement this regulation. And I want to comment from the whole board on this because these credit unions and small banks carry a tremendous load and a tremendous burden. They didn't cause the Wall Street breakout. Now, what you have that is so devastating is this rule and regulation is 1,888 pages. Why is there a problem not, and they're saying it's difficult to meet the August 1st deadline, and all they're asking for is more time and a safe harbor through the end of the year. Now, what's wrong with that? Can anybody, I guess there's nothing wrong with it then.
Is that
well, thank you.
At me or, Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir.
As I said earlier, Rich Cordray has said, and I think he's generally acted pretty reasonably and has been consultative with the regulated community as well as with consumer groups, and he has said that they are going to take into account the circumstances and the nature of the conduct, and is not going to bring enforcement actions where there's good faith conduct, where there might be a technical violation. With respect to civil liability, there has really not been a whole lot of litigation under either RESPA or TILA.
But
RESPA does not create a private right of action.
Well, can't we get some attention to the major concern that these stakeholders are not able to test the process that's used to develop these new disclosures in real-life transactions before this implementation date? They're saying this. I mean, I don't understand why there's this hesitation. If the Consumer Protection Agency is there to protect this, don't you see where if we don't give this safe harbor, that it could cause human error? I mean, we're not talking about a rule or a regulation of 10 pages. We're talking about 1,888. This is, I don't see why there's this objection to this bill to provide, what is it, 5 months maybe, from August to December? I don't understand that, particularly if the industry itself is crying out and have legitimate concerns. So if the result is, and they say, that this could bring about human errors, that ought to be enough of an alarm bell to say, okay, we don't want the consumers, we want to protect the consumers for that.
Mr. Scott, again, with respect to enforcement actions, I've said already what Richard Cordray, the director of CFPB, has said. With respect to civil liability, you can't sue at all under RESPA. There is no private right of action. Under TILA, you have to show damages. To get damages, you have to show you were damaged. It is pretty hard to imagine a borrower showing significant damages for a technical, innocent violation of the rule. No lawyer is going to take that case.
But the point is,
no court is going to award damages.
Well, then, why would you object to it, to the safe harbor? Why would you object?
Because if
extending
a
the
consumer
December 31st?
has been damaged and the conduct was not in good faith, was not innocent, was not technical, then we should not strip consumers of the
Mr. Miller, that's just speculation.
Chair now recognizes